What's up, everybody? Holiday season is here, and that means muddy football. It also means this public service announcement. I've become a vest guy over the course of the last year, and some of you are going to get vests for the holidays. And let me tell you right now, tell your moms, if she's not buying you a vest with a zipper that unzips from the bottom like that, it's not a vest worth having. All right? You got to be able to zip both ways. That was unsponsored. Here for the people. With that said, let's talk about Brock Purdy, and let's look back at whether or not he can throw in the rain. The weather coming up for Philly might be raining. Right here, you can see it. Weather guy. Some rain on Friday, some rain in the afternoon on Saturday, some rain on Sunday, considerable cloudiness with occasional rain showers, wind at 10 to 15 miles an hour, chance of rain 50%. Let's look at Sunday night just because, that could become the day. Same chance of 50%. So potential test here for Brock, who had the game in Cleveland where the Niners led late. Wasn't all because of the rain. The rain came and went that day too. And he had some bad throws, and some of them definitely were attributable to the rain. Didn't have a ton of this at Iowa State. We talked about this when they played Cleveland, so I'm not going to rehash all that. But let's go through. The question is, how much is he going to have to throw? How much will Kyle throw it? I said yesterday, maybe Kyle will pull an okey doke and throw the ball early. But I got a lot of comments after that YouTube video looking back at it. People going, Kyle would be insane to try and pull an okey doke. You should just run the ball. I went back and looked at the Cleveland game, the opening drive of that game. The Niners scored. It was a 6-play scoring drive, 5 true run plays, plus an inside pitch to McCaffrey that went down as a pass, but I'm going to count it. It's a behind the line of scrimmage, between the hashes throw. So it's basically a run. I mean, you're going to throw a long wide receiver screen. That's a throw. But an inside pitch, for this purpose, I'm going to count it as a run. So that Cleveland game started 17 of the 49ers' first 22 plays were run plays. 17 of the first 22 plays were run plays. 20 of the 31 plays, rewatching the game this morning, 20 of the first 31 plays. I think that was I think I just not graded it, but logged it up to the half. 20 of the 31 were runs. So, they, especially early in the game, made a concerted effort to run the ball. So, is that going to be what happens this week? I'm going to start actually by going way back to one of the most telling moments in Brock Purdy's career, actually being one of the most telling moments of Kyle Shanahan's brief run in the Purdy era. This is the moment I knew, if Brock Purdy goes on to have a great career, and you say, Guy, do you remember the moment when you knew that Kyle Shanahan thought that this guy was different? I will say yes. I remember the moment. And the moment was last year in the divisional round playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks. This was the moment I realized that Kyle Shanahan thought he had something different. It was raining at Niners' first possession, Brock's first playoff game. What did Kyle do? He threw the ball. And what happened? It looked terrible. Threw the ball downfield. It looked awful. The rain is coming down, and you're thinking, I remember exactly that moment thinking, oh my God, don't do that again. And I had confidence that, here's the one thing I knew after that throw was that Kyle Shanahan would not do that again. Like, if there's one thing I know about Kyle, he's going to go into the shell here and start running the ball, except he didn't. The very next play in the driving rain, he had Brock line it up and throw it over the middle. And I thought, there it is. That's the moment. This guy thinks Brock Purdy is different. Not only is he throwing it down the field on the first play of the game, but after he throws an air ball that almost gets intercepted, he comes right back and has him throw it over the middle on the very next play. So one overarching thought I want you to take from this in terms of my opinion, whatever it looks like, let's say Brock comes out and it's raining and he throws a wet ball early. If Kyle's plan is to have Brock move the ball down the field, then he's going to just stick. I think he's going to stick to that plan. He knows the weather report. The plan that Kyle Shanahan is making right now, or maybe has already made the script. He's making it. The script for this game. Whatever that involves the consideration of rain, and involves the consideration that his right tackle is no better at pass blocking. Hassan Reddick, maybe we'll see, than his tight end was last year. That the right side of his line might have problems. That it's an Eagles team that given the situation, you're going to want to run the ball against, but also you feel like you can throw against. So he's considering these things, and just know this in the back of your mind, that I don't think anything that I'm about to show you makes Kyle Shanahan think that Brock Purdy can't throw in the rain. All right, so let's begin. Browns game. Good throw. This is when it's wet. Okay, it is wet at this point of the Browns game. He's got dude in his grill, falling away. And we see this. We'll see this over the course of this Browns game. Wet game. The other thing was it was windy on this day in Cleveland. And he does, to use the old, I'm not quarterback guy, but the off-platform stuff. And usually it works. Sometimes it gets him into a little trouble, but this is a good throw. One thing, looking back at this Cleveland game, rewatching the Cleveland game, and the reason I rewatched the Cleveland game, not just because it was wet, was because I think it's going to be the closest thing the Niners have played. This Eagles game will be the closest thing to the Browns game. Not in terms of defensive ability, right? Like, especially in the back seven, this is not a secondary that is as good as the Browns secondary. But I just think in terms of the type of pressure the game will have, the type of physical strain that each possession will have, the importance on each possession, and the crowd. Like, I think it's in some ways going to be a higher scoring Browns game. And in this game, you're going to need Purdy and Ayuk to be on the same page. Purdy and Ayuk missed multiple opportunities in this Browns game, including this, which was excellent. Obviously, Ayuk thought he got hit a little early. He might have, but if you showed this to Brandon Ayuk, this is a ball that he's going to tell you he should catch. I don't even know how. I've never seen him. Yeah, it's about as bad as it looks from Ayuk. So, all right, next up, windy, rainy, Purdy, Ayuk drop. Him and Ayuk. This throw is behind Ayuk, but I think it has to be because of the linebacker that's in front of Brandon. And again, Ayuk would tell you I should catch this. So some of what happened in that game, I think there's so much trust between Purdy and Ayuk, and some of what happened in that game was that. Now don't get me wrong, there was plenty to choose from when you go, all right, do you know or do you think? Right now it's I think he'll be able to handle, but this was the throw that got everybody's attention as a throw that made you wonder, can he throw in these conditions? When he made that throw, it opened everybody's eyes to the possibility that he was going to be off on this day. Maybe this was partly wind, but I just think the ball doesn't come out clean, even though it looks like a spiral. It completely dies. And you might, if any thought that him and Kittle just weren't on the same page, look at his face. That's the other thing. This was a game, Brock got visibly frustrated in this game. And I think it was because he just couldn't do some of the things that he's used to doing. But, he's very stoic. Jalen Hurts is a marble statue when it comes to stoicism. But, in this game, Brock just kind of, you could see it a little bit. You could see his frustration. All right, next throw. This was the very next throw. And it came as, you're watching that first throw going, all right, in the moment, you're trying to figure out, did he miss that throw to Kittle or that throw to the, who was, that wasn't Kittle. Yeah, it was Kittle. Did he miss that throw to Kittle that badly, or was it the elements? And then this is the very next play, and you go, oh, okay, yeah. It was the elements. Now, let's look at it again. Not on the, every football analyst, but one, and it's only because the one is Jay Feely. There's only one analyst that's a kicker. Every football analyst, when it comes time to, like, somebody misses a kick, shanks a kick, a field goal attempt, Every guy who like played the D line or a receiver or quarterback, it's just the same analysis. Like, oh, laces weren't out. Here's Brock, hand not anywhere near the laces, and the ball's just gonzo. So, oof. All right. Next throw. This is something we saw a few times in this game. And actually, this play doesn't bother me. This is not a rain throw, I don't think. This happens sometimes because Brock tries to make this throw a lot. And so sometimes you get a linebacker with a chance to make a play. I think sometimes this gets described as an almost interception. Actually, I think here it got described as, almost intercepted. I think one of the reasons, I don't know, Brock hasn't said this. He hasn't really talked in depth about these throws, these layered throws over the middle, which he's very confident at, he's good at. I think one of the reasons he does it is because you are layering it over a linebacker. You're not trying to, this is not a tight window throw with a defensive back who, in theory, while that guy has worse hands than a receiver, has better hands than a linebacker. And these throws require the linebacker to really climb the ladder, get up way high. You're going to need two hands to catch this. Your body is not going to help you catch this ball. And so what I'm saying is that these are not, I don't think, near interceptions, even though sometimes they look like they might be, because these are extremely difficult plays for a linebacker to finish. Now, the ball's just floating in the air. I mean, that's what makes it dangerous, is that the ball is tip drill. But, I don't worry about, he's thrown linebacker. He threw a linebacker interception in the Cincinnati game on this. But, for the most part, it doesn't bother me so much in terms of linebacker. The question is there somebody back there who's going to catch that tip drill? So, all right, next up, what do we got? An interception. Now, this was not good because he actually drives this ball, but it ends up so far behind Ayuk that it makes you think it did not come out clean. We're going to get a replay here from the back, and you'll see it. Yeah, does not come out clean. Look at that. They didn't totally slip, but, that's, especially for a guy who makes this throw all the time. Let's see body language, Brock. 30 guys on the field. Good body language. All right. Good. We're fine on the body language there. But it just, whoop. Look at that. It comes out almost sideways. All right. That's weather. That's a weather interception right there. Him and Ayuk trying to connect, not connecting. Going to have to connect. Jalen's going to hit. Jalen Hurts is going to hit Devontae Smith. He's going to hit A.J. Brown. Do you hit your guys? No, didn't connect on that throw. All right, next. This was a good throw. I mean, this situation now, up by 1, 2nd and 21, 3 minutes and 15 seconds left in the fourth quarter. This is a tougher throw, I think, than it looks, because look at, he's got pressure, and it's a long throw near the right hash in a dangerous spot. Like, one thing with Brock, he does seem, knock on wood if you're so inclined, he does seem to protect the ball when he throws to the sideline well. You might argue he doesn't protect it. He takes risks over the middle. When he throws it to the sideline, he does a pretty good job. Like, this is in a 1-point game. This is just a dangerous play to make under pressure, making a long throw at your own 20 where an interception is a touchdown. Good throw. I mean, that's a good throw. All right, the system only lets me show you so many at one time. So let me remove a couple of these so I can add a few more. 1 second. I had so many clips here loaded up. Give you a chance to shop for a double zipper vest. If it's not a double zipper vest, it's just, it's criminal. And while I'm loading a few of these up, we can watch the play that I wouldn't say I'd forgotten about this play. But that was that changed the whole game. I mean, this was brutal. That was 3rd down and 10. I'm just loading up a few more here. Hold on. That was 3rd down and 10, and it was going to be 4th down and 10. They called the penalty, and then the Browns. Kicked the go ahead field goal. We're gonna get to some of what the Niners did after here, but talk amongst yourselves for one more second here. Just loading up a few more clips.
He works his way
without giving them all away. But this is just the last drive. I mean, the question is, one of the questions I wanted to answer here for myself as I went through this was going back to the end of the Browns game when, the pressure was on and it was windy and it was still wet, and just see how did he respond in that situation. Uh-oh. All right. So here we go. All right. So we had the penalty. They kick a field goal. What happens next? All right. So Niners get the ball down by 2. Minute 40. Plenty of time. Let's watch what Brock does. Almost throws a pick. Now, these are really good corners. And he's trying to go at Greg Newsome there. And as we'll see, they get away with some stuff. We don't get as good of a look. I thought that interception he almost threw earlier, I think this is just good coverage, throwing it to a bad spot, maybe being a little aware of the safety help there, but dicey. Next up. This was fine. This was 2nd down. He misses Ayuk long. I mean, we could get Chase Daniel in here or something and break down where he should have thrown the ball. But in terms of just the throw, Ayuk's covered. I don't think this ball comes out wrong. I just think he puts it out there hoping if anyone's going to get it, it'll be Brandon or it's going OB. I mean, better put it where he put it than on the receiver, I think. So I'm all for 50-50 throws to Ayuk, but not there. So now it's 3rd down, and it looked like the game was almost over on this play. Let me get the volume up. But at first glance, it looks like a bad throw. Penalty flag. Jennings got held. All right. So 1st down for the Niners. Again, sideline to Ayuk. Solid throw. This is the Brown. This play, the Browns were just completely allergic to tackling. This made no sense. Yikes. So, all right. Niners are in business. What do you do now? You find Jennings, big spot. It's always Jennings in a big spot. Another good throw. I mean, you know what? I missed a Jennings. Hold on. There's one more. I actually skipped a Jennings throw I want to get in here. Let me bring this in real quick.
It's on the line. Purdy, they go quick.
This
far side, Jennings, incomplete.
This is, again, an example, I think, of where Brock, he just really protects the ball. It's 1st and 10. You're almost in field goal range. You're in good shape. It's either make it a completion or an incompletion, but don't make it a pick. This is the left hash to the other sideline. Look at this, with the defender undercutting the route, not well, and he just put this ball out there. Like, this is not getting pick sixed. It's either going to be caught by Jennings or it's going to be incomplete, and that's fine. It'll be 2nd and 10. To me, this is, again, it's an incompletion. But this is where Brock, I think, has shown you can trust him, because while he does put the ball in harm's way over the middle, he generally seems to protect the ball on the sidelines. And for a guy without a rocket arm, we can debate his arm. This sometimes can be a little bit of a risky throw. So anyway, I thought that was an incompletion. That was actually a good throw. So now we skip back ahead. Another sideline throw to Jennings. So they're liking that right here. Did Brock have pressure? He did. I think he did have pressure. Let me see. Slow this down. Yeah. couple dudes in his face, somebody at his feet. Good throw. You know, and now turn away a few months. Middle of the field. So, you know, what do you think? I think the answer is that he has not answered the question yet. And this is a big opportunity. But I also think part of what happened in that game was there were some plays to be made. Ayuk didn't have a good game relative to, you know, what you generally expect from Brandon. There were three balls in that game that you think they're all tough catches. But Ayuk is a top receiver. He is seemingly Purdy's favorite target. He's going to get paid a lot of money. And part of the reason he's going to get paid a lot of money is because most of his film is going to show him making at least one of those three really difficult balls. Actually, one of them was, he'd argue, probably right in my hands. But that he's going to catch more of those balls than he did in this game. So he's going to have to help a little bit. You know, the other thing that happened in that game, a lot of people remember, and this is why, and John and I are going to do a show later today, depending on when you're watching this, but will be another live show podcast Tuesday. You know, the other similarity with the Eagles game is just the level of physical strain on every play. Trent Williams got hurt. Debo went into the tunnel. McCaffrey went into the locker room. I mean, Jordan Mason scored a touchdown in that Browns game because, you know, he became the backup running back for a period of time with McCaffrey out. So, you know, there can be all these things that happen that I think are similar to this game. I just think it's going to be a little higher scoring, but you're going to have to make these plays to make it higher scoring. And, you know, Philly's used to it. Philly's played in it. Philly survived. Philadelphia feels like more survivors this year than anything, but that's a credit. And, you know, they're used to it. All right, let's get to a couple comments here. Antonio, he played at Iowa State with the wind and the rain. He didn't really play in that many rain games, actually, when you go back and look. I think it was 2 or 3 max. One of them was in the driving rain, like an absolute monsoon. And they lost the game to somebody I don't remember. Not a big time team. You know, it was like it wasn't Buffalo, but it wasn't Kennesaw State. But he did not play in as many rain games as you think. I think it was 2. I mean, I know it was 2 or 3. I don't remember which, but I think Barrows wrote about this a couple of months ago in The Athletic. He didn't play as many rain games as you think. It's raining in Philly on Sunday. That's what it says, 50% chance. Hope Mason gets some runs against the big Eagles lineman. You know, the funny thing about it is that Elijah Mitchell looked as good as he's looked in I don't know how long last week. He looked fantastic last week. Charlie, can he throw in the rain? Well, all I can say is right now he does learn quickly from his mistakes. He does seem to get better every week. This is not I don't know if this is a quote unquote, learn from your mistake situation. He's a very fast learner. I guess the only learn would be, does he throw on a glove? Are they prepared to go to a glove? If it looks like what it looked like, if it looks like this, would he go to a glove if this happens? I hope they've talked about that this week. I would think. Now, maybe that's the lesson. No, I don't need to. I'll be fine. Okay. But I hope they've at least talked about it. Hey, if it looks like if this happens again, do we go to a glove? Can you throw with a glove? No, I don't like throwing with a glove. Does he throw with a glove this week? You know, they always do. They're like, let's spray the ball. I think a more effective use of practice time to prepare for rain would be, would a glove help? And if the answer is yes or maybe, let's practice throwing with a glove on versus spraying a ball down. Because spraying a ball down in practice, I think it's different in the pressure, in the wind, in, you know, the whole thing. It all just changes in real time. Now, maybe he would say, I don't need to throw with a glove. Okay, I'll try. You're the thrower, so I'll trust you. You know your body. You know how to throw. You've proven that. But if there's any thought of, if it rains, we might go to a glove, then I'd be more interested in them using practice time to throw with a glove this week than some intern with a water bottle spraying the ball. The rain, Philly pass rushers need Kyle to protect Purdy no matter what this game. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think what has Kyle said about the play that Brock got hurt on? He has not yet said, bad call by me. What he has said is, if the ball comes out a little faster, it's a touchdown. You would think they'd come up with something other than gloves. What else can you come up with other than gloves? Stick them? My moment was he's the most poised rookie I've ever coached. I knew it was over for Trey when Kyle said that. Gregus, Philly is 4th worst DVOA of a 10-1 team in history with a plus 65 point differential. And the Niners are one of the best DVOA offenses in history with a plus 140 point differential. Trenches plus running game equals important. I'm not going to totally dismiss point differential like I did yesterday, but I'll repeat briefly what I said, which is all of these metrics that matter, like I'm not at all dismissive of this stuff, occur over uncommon opponents, different games, home road, different injuries, blah, 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 blah. What you did against the Giants on a Thursday night doesn't mean anything Sunday in the rain on the road with the crowd, with the tush push, with the Eagles playing on a 96-yard field because they have an automatic first down play that they run twice a scoring drive. And with a quarterback that when I watch him, I go, I think he's an MVP. And I check the box score, he's like a 55% passer. But I watch Jalen Hurts, I go, I think he might be the most valuable player award winner in the NFL this year. So, I would not wrap myself in the warm comfort of point differential getting ready for this game in place of just having the appropriate respect for the team. More than the throws, the real problem is fumbles. There was not a fumble in the Bills-Eagles game, which is crazy. The AJ Brown play, I guess, could have been a fumble, but it was not technically it was not a catch. So, Michael, good morning, guy. I think the 49ers got it this week. Going to be a heavyweight match, but we're going to take it. It is going to be a heavyweight match. And the Niners are favored for good reason. Hold on. Ugh. Hair in the coffee. My own. Shave it or save it. Yeah, the jumper. Purdy should try wearing gloves. Yeah. Jake, Brock's long-term future, 49ers future is on the line Sunday. Super Bowl or bust. Did everything with Jimmy but win the last game. If it doesn't happen with this roster for Brock, it will never. I think the question partly is like, how much ceiling does the guy have? I think what we'll see in Shanahan's career is that he will be, and John Lynch's, committed to star players. So while I think this is their best shot at a Super Bowl, I agree with that. I do think that Brock's career, if he's got 12 more years as Niners quarterback, he'll be surrounded by really good players the whole time. As long as Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are around, they'll make sure of that. And Parag, they'll make sure of that. Sometimes teams win. It's funny, like you see it all the time. Who did I hear just talking the other day? Oh, I think we were talking about the Rams. The Mike Martz stuff. Maybe John said that the Rams, was it the Rams team? That like their better team was not the one that won the Super Bowl. That happens sometimes. So I don't think it's quite that dire for Brock. Concerned about Yak Bro fumbling, trying to fight for those extra yards. His issues are throwing to the left. The ball comes out to the right too much, which is due to his grip. So when he's throwing left, you're saying the ball slices on him a little bit? Because I think what those shows, what these videos have shown is, if we're just using these videos, that when he throws left, sometimes he actually leaves the ball behind. But you're right, he did throw the pick in Minnesota too far on front, but he might have also been concussed. Let's see what else we got. If the Niners get down early, it's going to be a tough uphill battle for Brock. Yeah, I mean, that's the test. And look, if they play from in front and they can just do what they want to do, great. I mean, you'll take the win. But there's a different level of difficulty test that the Niners could put themselves to this week, and that's if they get behind. And then you really got to throw. And it's one of those situations where you don't want to be in it, but if you find your way through it, then you know, maybe you've proven something that that we hadn't seen previously. Well, maybe Chris is a QB mechanic expert. If I was a QB coach, I would call myself the QB mechanic. That's actually, is there a YouTube channel called the QB mechanic? I might rebrand as the QB mechanic and just, you know, mechanic QBs. With a loss here, do the Niners coast a little rest starters and ensure they're 100 hitting the playoffs? I don't think so. You still don't want to go to Detroit in the playoffs. Eagles secondary is pretty weak. Sucks that it'll rain. Purdy would have had good matchups everywhere. Well, this is why I say I think the evidence, if you go back, well, some of you guys, if you just jumped into the live video, go back to the first video, the first two clips I show in this video. I think it's evidence that even if it's raining, Kyle is going to still try and throw the ball. It doesn't mean he's not going to run the ball 17 out of the first 22 plays or whatever. And then if he has the lead, he may not throw the ball at all. But Ayuk and Debo have been talked a lot. They got to throw the ball to him a little bit in this game. This is a good question. I mean, this is not a question. Broad Fjord says Brock's gonna be hearing footsteps. Brock has shown zero mental scarring from the play that knocked him out last year against the Eagles. But does that change when you're actually playing the guy that knocked you out last year against the Eagles? That's an interesting point there, Broadford. Spider Niner asks, is it harder for a QB to come back when down when the head coach has a 0 and whatever record? You know, we got to pull that. I can never remember exactly what that number is. What is it? It's like 1-47 or 0-42. It's like 1-40 something when trailing in the fourth, and then it's like 0-40 something when trailing by 7 or more in the fourth, I think is the stat. Somebody give me that stat. Luke Hargraves and Eric Armstead would be huge factors. Hurts' best moment come from rushing straight up the gut. If you can wall that up, our elite D lines will eat. Hurts has been fumbling a lot this year. I think Jalen, you know, I think it's more about Fred Warner when it comes to tackling this guy because he's going to find the holes. Wherever Hargraves and Armstead are, he'll go somewhere else. And then it's going to be up to Fred Warner to make a play. And Dre Greenlaw, you know, who thankfully for the Niners has looked better lately. But I mean, of course, there'll be huge factors. I'm not disagreeing. But to me, Fred Warner's the biggest factor. That's the guy that has the athleticism. That's the guy with the speed. That's the chess match with Jalen. You're down a couple safeties. So that hurts when it comes to tackling Jalen Hurts in the open field. So it's a Fred Warner game. Will Greenlaw do something insane early? Got my money on yes. For Gage, thanks for the 7 spot or $6.99. 49ers being 3-point favorites actually worries me. Eagles as dogs always seem to play their best. Yeah, it gives Philly a little, not that they need the motivation, but I guess gives Philly a little. But I think it goes back to the comment earlier about what the metrics say. The metrics say what? The Niners are the better team? I guess the Niners get credit for playing from ahead, but we want to see them win from behind once. The Eagles don't get any credit for blowing anybody out, but all they do is pull games out. So what's more real? I mean, maybe they're both real, but which type of game is this going to be? If it's going to be the tie game into the fourth quarter, which team do you think has been in that situation? Which team's been in that situation more? Philly's been in that situation more. So, like, if it's 24-24 going to the fourth quarter, nobody's going to be talking about DVOA and point differential. Just hope the refs don't decide we have to play flag football. Eagles D is nowhere good as Cleveland. True. That's a fact. Their pass rush, though, can be just as disruptive for the Niners offensive line, I think. Even though there's no Myles Garrett. That's the part where, what did Debo say last year or earlier this year during the Super Bowl? He said the reason their secondary looks good is because their pass rush is so good. Well, that could give the Niners. I mean, that is the Niners on the right side of the offensive. It's a good thing Brock is right-handed because the right side of the offensive line is a problem for them. It's a problem. So we can beat these guys down the field. Ayuk had the guy beat last year. It was going to be a touchdown. And then Hassan Reddick took Brock Purdy's arm off. Ball's got to come out fast. Last I looked before the Jags game, Brock was fourth in the NFL in time to throw. Let's see what he is right now real quick. If I can get it quickly. Here we go. I can. Ooh, boo, boo, boo. Time to throw. Let's filter out some nobodies. Brock is now. Whoa. This is filtered backwards. Brock is 11th at 2.6. Oh, you know what? It was Trevor Lawrence that was fourth, not Brock. Sorry. 2.68. Brock Purdy, time to throw. That is 11th in the NFL. Tua, Mac Jones, Burrow, Lawrence, Carr, Goff, Stafford, Minshew, Ritter, Dak. Tua 2.3. Eagles deal will be gassed in the fourth quarter. They were on the field for 92 plays, I think, against Buffalo. So that is part of the, if the game plan is run the ball at them, stay on the field. I mean, one thing we know about Shanahan, he has 4-quarter game plans. And running the ball early against this team, in part, even if it's not getting chunks, is going to be about trying to wear them down. 74 against the Chiefs. I think it was 92 against the Bills, right? So that's a good point. All right. On that note, got to roll. Thanks for popping in. This video used NFL broadcast footage, which means it cannot be monetized. So instead of money, hit that like button. And that'll get more people to see it. And then maybe they'll subscribe to the channel and some other videos will get monetized. So we appreciate that very much. Sponsored by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Crafted to be savored responsibly. But if you're here right now, just hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Appreciate that very much. And we'll talk to you later. If you're watching it live, talk to you later today.